Hi guys! So I just finished re-dyeing my hair. So this is the darkest it's gonna be. And apparently my ring light just died. Don't know what happened, but I guess this is the best we're gonna get in this area. Yeah, it's still wet. I don't blow dry my hair. I just kind of let it be. I decided to sit over here just for kind of a change of pace. You know, not leave my house, but still be somewhere different. What I'm planning to do for this vlog is some serious editing. I really want to tackle Circuit, the story that's just constantly on my mind. I recently read Anatomy of a Story by John Truby, and I actually used his process. I did his 7-step process for Circuit to kind of flesh out my thoughts about it, and then I did his full, what is it, like 22 steps? Yeah, I did his full 22-step process to just kind of completely flesh out my thoughts about Circuit, which I've been, you know, struggling with writing for a really long time, unwriting, rewriting, and it just never like came together completely in the right way at the right time. So I'm rethinking it and reworking it. I'm gonna go through some kind of serious edits for it and just really figure this story out and try and get it out there. So that's what I'm gonna be working on today. I was expecting that the ring light would work because I live in Seattle. We don't really have, there's a window right here that I was gonna use, but it is darker than the rest of the lights. It's one of those gray days. We're heading into fall, which means that I won't be seeing sunlight again until probably May. I'm gonna be working on that, and I just thought I would do a little editing vlog and show you my hair is back to full purpleness. Actually, I didn't know what to do about if I was gonna shave this again, the undercut, or not, so I sort of left it and just let it get a little bit purpley, but didn't really bother with it. I haven't decided if I'm gonna let it grow out or not yet, but we shall see. But anyway, today is gonna be about edits and revisions. Have I started doing my revisions yet? No, I have not. When last you saw me, I then Skyped for a while. Now I'm actually starting. I've read through all of the notes I took, and there are a few key things in the beginning that have to change. One of the things that the Anatomy of Story really talked about is the difference between like need and desire that I had to really think through. I need to insert the plot in a specific, I'm really like red in this. Maybe I should just face it the other way, but this is where all the mess is, and this is the side that's nice. So we're just gonna stick with this. Maybe we'll turn this way. Is that a little bit better? Oh, now we're showing mess. Okay, that's a little better. Anyway, so one of the main things is that it's a few chapters in before we really get into the part with the magicians, and I think I can easily like Alice in Wonderland this shit. I can make a white rabbit, and I think that's going to strengthen the relationship between Kaye and Rowan later. So I'm gonna make Kaye my white rabbit, and we're gonna Alice in Wonderland this up a little bit. And that's what I'm gonna be working on right now. And I guess I'm gonna be changing the battery out so that I can get some B-roll for you. I've rewritten the first 2 pages pretty much entirely. I used to have this massive info dump at the beginning, and it felt like it was so necessary to like explain the world. But the problem was, especially like thinking it through, is that all these other characters care so much about what's going on in the world, and there's gonna be a part later on where like there's no getting around a big info dump. But Rowan doesn't care, and since we're in her perspective, I wanted to highlight more of the things she cares about, because that's what's important in a story, is that like you care about what the main character cares about. And the more I was thinking about it, the more it's kind of like it's more relatable, because it's the sort of thing that like when something happens, like a big world event, you think about it from only your own perspective, especially when you're a teenager. You're completely thinking about like how it's affecting you, what's affecting you, and like what you're missing out on and what you're gaining. And it's a much more realistic thing for her to be kind of stuck in those ideas and not like realizing the scale of what's going on around her, even though some other people do. So I took out a huge chunk to like really focus in on that, and ended up writing a lot more. And I'll have to see what a friend of mine thinks, because I think it's a stronger opening. I think it makes her seem like kind of maybe a bad person or an uninteresting person, but I think that's kind of what I'm going for at the beginning here. Like, Rowan is a millennial in a fantasy world. She used to have that millennial energy, if you know what I'm saying. It's going slowly, but I feel good about it. I don't have a lot of energy recently. I'm just kind of a little drained, but the hair helped. My hair had been getting a little dull, and having it back to like bright purple makes me happy when I look in the mirror. And I might just be needing to eat something here soon, so maybe I will do that and get back into this. I want to take this like slow and steady and methodical, and really just like push what I want to be happening in this story. So working towards that. My copies of Slippery Elm came. I'm in this one. The Movement by Kaye Spivey, which when they have their reading, I sent them the video of me reading this, so I can't wait for that. If you follow me on Twitter at Kaye Spivey, I hopefully will be able to link to that when it happens. I'm so excited. I really love Slippery Elm, and I love the poem that they published in here, so very excited that I have that. My ring light is not working for some reason. Something is wrong with the adapter. Luckily it's not the light, but that's annoying. So it's cozy up here with me. I have a question. I'm thinking about starting a Patreon, and I had always thought I don't know what I'd offer, and if I was gonna start one I would wait until I had at least 1,000 subscribers, but I'm getting darn close. I'm very excited about how close I've gotten. This is a dream that I thought was way off in the future, and now it's like a goal that I can't wait. I'm thinking about starting a Patreon. I've been recently getting a lot of requests from people to do critiques for poetry, and I'm happy to do them. I'm really slow. See, this is the problem, okay. I get them in like little influxes, and some of the time people are asking for like reviews of their books and things, and on those I try to be really open and apparent that I'm really a mood reader. I'm not gonna guarantee I get to your book like within this year, and if you're totally cool with it, I'd love you to send it to me because I love receiving books, but that I can't really guarantee it's gonna be on my channel. I can't like promise I'm gonna have a review up, but if I get to it, I'll leave a review for you on Goodreads and Amazon. It's kind of always been my model. But recently I've been getting a lot more requests for poetry critiques, and I do love reading poetry, but it's like they come in little influxes is what I was saying, and I have anxiety. And so I get them and I panic every time. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to give you good enough advice. I don't know what to do. I like can't touch my inbox for a little while, and then it's been like a week. I also have got messages like they do not notify me for messages unless even if we're mutuals half the time. For Instagram and Twitter, I've got all my notifications turned off, so eventually I check them, but if it's been like 2 weeks to a month, probably I just didn't notice. And if we're not mutuals on either of those platforms, then it has it in the like little secret message request area that I didn't even know about until quite recently. So I'm very sorry if I take forever to get to things, and then it gives me more anxiety, so that's the problem. But I've been getting a lot more requests for critiques, and while it obviously like sparks the anxiety, it's like it's fun to do. I enjoy doing it. Like I love reading people's poems, and then I panic afterwards about like, are they gonna hate me forever for what I said? But I try to be constructive, I try to be positive, but to also give valuable feedback, like the kind of feedback I would like to get, which is much easier if y'all aren't sending PDF files, by the way. If you can send something where like I can do a markup like a Google Docs or a Word file or something, is much easier to give like specific critiques, but I'll still do my best. But anyway, I've been getting enough of those kinds of things now that I'm wondering if I should just stop doing it for free. Like I haven't had a job for about 3 months now, and I've been working on a lot of creative work, but as you know, creative work is time consuming but then not immediately rewarding. I've been sending out quite a bit of work, but hearing back from all of that work that I've been sending out, like I only, Slippery Elm, it was probably around this time last year that I sent the poem to them, and I heard back in March, I think it was March, that they were going to publish it, and the book is just out now. Like, that's how publishing works. So everything is like years in the future. And YouTube, I am not monetized yet. Like I said, I'm not quite to 1,000. We're getting to the point where like I gotta get a job. But I also really like having this creative time, and I really like being able to respond to these kinds of things. And I definitely would not be able to do poetry critiques or anything like that if I was working again. Maybe I'll start a Patreon. I have to look into all of it. I really like never really considered it before, and so I don't know what I'm doing, but I could offer those kinds of tiers. Like there could be a tier for book review, there could be a tier for like send me 5 poems, and then I can be sure to get back to you like within, I guess everything is monthly with Patreon, so it's like within this month I'll get this back to you and know that I'm making some kind of an income, but also that I'm giving you back something valuable, or hopefully valuable to you. Are there other things? Like what else would people in the same kind of position be offering? Like what else would be things you guys would want from me, like as paid content basically? Like what else would be of value to you? Like should we have a monthly book club? I don't know how good I'll be about that, but we could certainly do that for poetry. Or yeah, I don't know. Give me some thoughts. I'm gonna try to not overthink this, but I think maybe I'm gonna look into doing Patreon, and certainly poetry critiques would be something that I would really like to have as a tier, because that's something that I think I would enjoy, and I've been getting so many requests for. I think it's something that would make a lot of sense for me to be trying to actually make money off of it instead of offering it for free. I'm so sorry. Everyone who I've already received, obviously I'm gonna do it, but it would make more sense if I try and like value my work a little more, right? Let me know. Or if you happen to have a Patreon, can you let me know like how you decided what tiers you're using, and like what tiers, what you're offering, and how it's working for you, and like how easy the platform is to use, because I would like to know. But yeah, I may start doing that. I think that might be a good next step. These revisions for circuit, I think if I can crack down really hard on this, I'm having a friend look at the first couple of pages to see if I really am going in the right direction, because I really felt like I was going in the right direction. But if I'm not, I can still backtrack right now. But I'm going to like really crack down this week and see if I can't get through the entire draft and then do a read through myself, and maybe I can be querying circuit again by the end of the year if this revision like goes well. I can't let this book go, and it feels like the right thing to be doing right now. I feel like I've finally like cracked the code to it. Hopefully I can figure this out. Having a little bit of income would certainly help relieve some of the like growing worries. I've really enjoyed having some free time and some creative time, and like refilling the well in a serious way. Like I've got money saved up. I'm actually really good at saving money. I have an entire video. I'm very good at saving money, and I've been doing this for a while because I lived in LA for a short time and went absolutely broke, and luckily my family is very kind and was able to help me out some, and like I didn't die, but I could have because it was so bad. But I learned a lot earlier on in my life about how to save money and what to prioritize. So I made a video about it. I'll link it for you. Yeah, I have saved money. I'm not at all in a desperate situation. I just think, like I said, it would make a lot of sense to start a Patreon now. So yes, we'll look into that. Who is this handsome gentleman? Oh, you! It's Zuko! Hi! Hey, chatty boy. Good morning. It is another day. I didn't get done with nearly as much as I wanted to yesterday. I think my plan for today is going to be to really start read over the changes that I made, make sure they're actually as good as I thought they were, and kind of crack down a bit. I'm gonna try, if you can hear something, I'm boiling water because I'm gonna have some tea. I'm gonna have some banana bread that I made yesterday. I'm going to get through as much as I can. I'm gonna try and do this in like 3-hour-long like sprints, like just focus and work, and see if that works for me. I'm just having trouble focusing, so I think if I set a timer, make myself sit for an hour, I think I'm gonna get the most done. So I'm gonna do that, take a break, do another one, and do that 3 times today. So that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. Have I ever mentioned that for Circuit, the like song that from the beginning was always the one that it's always been on the playlist for, it's always the one I listen to, is Royals by Lorde. I feel like I'm not totally sure what came first, like the idea for this or that song. And it's funny because a lot of the idea for it came from my obsession with Arashi. So you'd think it would be one of their songs, and there are songs of theirs that are definitely the reason I came up with concepts. Like the whole Labyrinth is because of their song Monster. The whole idea for that came from that. Royals, just like, it's not exactly the lyrics, it's more like that feeling is exactly the tone for the whole story. Like, and when I listen to it again, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's where I'm going with Circuit. Which is so funny, like all this time it just keeps coming back to that song. So like that is the top playlist song for Circuit, is Royals by Lorde. I finished rewriting the first chapter. I think this is a lot better. There's a lot of Rowan kind of being pushed along, and there's still some of that, but I'm giving her more opportunities to like make the decisions herself, which each time I do this I kind of get closer to her and understanding how she works. It's not even that, it's kind of like accepting the way she is. I feel like we have like this heroine image, and from the start I didn't want her to be that. Like I really wanted a Bilbo type character where they're just like being sucked along for the ride and they really didn't choose this, that this is something that just like happened to them, because I love that type of hero. They kind of have to have trial by fire. Like this is not the life they'd have chosen for themselves. They don't have a real reason to have been chosen other than just that they were. And I love that. I love the idea of like an actual everyman, which is something that Bilbo was, that I think is so important and is something that like makes The Hobbit really stand out. And I hate this, I hate the stories where there's like the everyman person and then it turns out, oh no, they were super special and like chosen. I don't know. I hate that. I even hated it in like Yu Yu Hakusho. Man, I was an anime nerd as a kid, just so you know. But like in Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke was just like so cool for so long, and then you get like further into the storyline, they're like, by the way, it's actually like destiny and he's like the son of demons, and I'm just like, that's dumb. It was so much better when like he just made a stupid decision and like everything came from that. Like I like that type of story the best, where the hero just like completely stumbles onto being the hero and there's nothing special about them other than just they're willing to try. I'm giving her more opportunity to do that. I think it's important for her. I'm also like really leaning into the like Alice in Wonderland idea. Like she needs to be chasing a white rabbit. She needs to have some reason to get going. Like Alice in Wonderland's another good example. Like just bored and needing something else to do, you chase the white rabbit in a good way. I'm not changing a lot of like the structure of the story. I'm just moving a few pieces around differently. Like if this was a chess game, I would have chosen different pieces to move from the beginning, I guess. Is that a good analogy? Man, chess is wild. Queen's Gambit was really good, by the way. I love that actress. I'm done with the first hour and the first chapter. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break. Some of BTS's ARMY put together like a really kind of thorough and well-researched docu-series about BTS's rise in K-pop. I just started watching it this morning during breakfast, and there's a few more, oh, there's like a lot more episodes. There's like 15 episodes, and they're like really thorough and interesting and talking about the K-pop industry as a whole, starting from like day one, boys being brought together kind of thing, and like how much they worked and how different their industry was than a lot of the other leading industries at the time, and like the standards put on them versus the K-pop standards as a whole and things. And like there are also clips of interviews from like Blackpink and things. It's a really good docu-series, so I'm probably gonna watch that. It's like 2 o'clock. I probably need to eat more than banana bread, so I'm gonna have some lunch and then I'll get back and I'll do another hour, and hopefully if I can do an hour a chapter, it'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? Okay, we're gonna work on that. Okay, I ate lunch, and so now it's time to tackle chapter 2. I am really enjoying this docu-series, so I'm gonna just give myself this as like incentives to finish chapters, because if I finish chapters then I get to watch more. But like, oh, it's so fascinating. Like, it's talking about like how BTS came to be, but also like in depth into kind of like the social aspects, like what inspired a lot of their songs, like kind of how the culture behind all of this works. It's a great docu-series. Like, good for ARMY for putting this together. It's pretty impressive. It's called The Rise of Bangtan. It's on YouTube, so if you have any interest in BTS at all, like, it's a fantastic docu-series. Working on chapter 2, I think this is where a lot of the differences are gonna come in. I used to have a whole other chapter for chapter 2 that I'm just fully removing the chapter. Hopefully going to incorporate it later, but it was another, like, I had so many info dumps at the beginning here. But a lot of it was because all the feedback I was getting back was like confusion about the world building and things. Again, after reading the John Truby book, it was kind of like, that's not what's important. I need to just tell this story the way I want to tell it. The info dumping isn't as important. Like, the world is not as important as the story. I'm trying to go with that mindset, but that whole chapter needs to come out. There's another chapter that's going to come up here pretty soon that has to come out that actually I already took out to make into a short story because I love the chapter, but it's just not going to work. But I think I'm streamlining it so that we're getting to the labyrinth part sooner. It's the important part for the first half, and then we can start introducing the info dumps, because there's gonna be a point where like the info dumps have got to come. That all has to come later. Like, I feel like you have to care and learn about Rowan and learn about the magicians first, and then we can start to get into the info dumps. But I think having them early wasn't important. So yeah, I'm taking out a lot of chapters. We're gonna end up with this being way under word count, but I'm adding in so much. Like, I fully rewrote chapter 1, so even though I took out chapter 2, I'm gonna have to write in most of another chapter 2, although maybe not. Part of this is gonna be, all right, well, I'm just gonna work on it rather than talking through my process. How about that? This hour-long thing isn't really working for me. For the last like 20 minutes, I just get really unfocused, and I feel like I get even less done. So for the next sprinting time, I think I'm gonna do like 2 30-minute endeavors. I think that's a better idea. Because man, yeah, the end of the hour, I'm just like constantly checking the time and doing nothing and switching over to Twitter, which is not what we were going for here. I'm gonna take a little break, recharge, watch more of The Rise of Bangtan, and then I'll get back to this in 30-minute intervals. That's probably a much better idea. I've been thinking some more about the Patreon thing and about like what kinds of things to offer, and I've been looking at other people with more somewhat similar channels and what kinds of things they offer. It's so hard to decide because it's either like very casual or it's like a lot. And I don't want this to be something that is like so much pressure that I feel like it's overwhelming if it's more than like 2 people. But I also want to feel like people are getting their value out of it, and I definitely want to have a tier for poetry critiques. I don't know if I should offer something like a one-time deal or like a monthly deal. I don't know, like the $3 tier even, because I could either do like a 1, 5, 10, 20. Some people just go real expensive for joining the Patreon, and some people, like Kate Kavanaugh is one that I was looking at, and hers are like super cheap and it's all the same things, and I kind of like that. Emily Page Wilson's, and hers is pretty laid back as well, but then she has like much higher tiers as well. I was thinking about things like, I definitely want to do, but I could do like, should I do like a 5 poetry, like 5 poems a month for people at a higher tier, and then 1 for people at a lower tier. I was wondering if maybe I should just make poetry sleepovers a monthly thing, and I could have a tier for that. But then I feel like I don't want you to have to pay to come hang out with me, you know? But I could make that more of a structured thing where we're like really going into writing prompts and like sharing a lot more. I don't know. I'm really tossing around some ideas because I want to do this, but I don't want to do something that feels like I'm like scamming you. Like I don't want to be scamming my viewers and my readers and like people I care about. Like I don't want you guys to be getting nothing out of this or to feel like you're getting nothing out of it. So I want it to be something where it feels like you're contributing towards me and that I'm giving you something back in return that's more than just normal videos, which are so by and large just me doing whatever I want. And I don't want you to have to pay for me to do whatever I want, you know, like I want you to benefit as well. So like, yeah, if there are things you want to see on Patreon, by the time I post this, I will not have created it yet. And I don't know if you can change it later or not. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see if there's any feedback from any of you about like things you would want to see on a Patreon from me, like what you would consider value. Let me know and I'll try and take that into consideration. I think something I think is interesting is like input on the channel as being one of the tiers, especially if someone wants you to like talk about a certain book or something. It would just have to be like, you're not guaranteed that, but that I only will take into consideration. I don't know how people do this. Did I mention I've got anxiety? Or it's not, I'm just overthinking it. That's all it is. I'm just sitting here overthinking it. I need to stop overthinking it and keep working on my story. Let's do another 30 minutes. Did you see that? Oh, Google Docs. Google Docs suggested a word and then it was like, that word isn't right. Like, you just suggested it. Just so y'all didn't start to think I've only got one look. Here I am all made up because I just finished filming some videos. And I thought now is probably a good time to wrap up this revision vlog for now. The revisions are going pretty good, a lot slower than I thought they would be going. It's also been really good. I'm back to the point in the story where there's a lot less that has to like dramatically change. We're at the points where now everything kind of connects together and it's only minor changes, which is great. But I'm gonna be continuing to work on this, probably keep you updated about it. It seemed to work a lot better when I've got a vlog going on. Oh, there's a little birdie outside. But I also have been working on critiques for other people and kind of doing a little bit of research trying to figure out this whole Patreon thing. So I've been doing many things and I'm gonna try to have back all the poetry revisions or the poetry critiques for people who have asked for them, and then I've got a few bigger project ones that people asked for help with that I'm gonna be working on as well. Gonna be busy today, so I'm gonna do that. I also have to edit this so I can post it for tomorrow morning. And definitely let me know if you have any thoughts about things I should do for Patreon, because I'm still mulling over everything, but I want to launch it soon. I guess that's all I really had to say. I haven't vlogged in so long now, it kind of feels awkward to be doing it here at the end. And now that my ring light has died, all my lighting looks so bad, so I'm sad about that. I have to get a new power adapter for it to work. I'm gonna have to figure out something for a power adapter or see if I can't fix that one, which maybe I'll try. Anyone know any electrical engineering? I hope you're having a great day. I hope any revisions that you're doing or any writing that you're doing is going really well, even if it's going slowly. Sometimes it seems like slow writing is like just as good, just as necessary as when it's coming really, really quickly. Sometimes that feels even more solid, so this is a good thing. I just can't let this story go, you guys. I tried, I really tried. I put it down for several months now and I'm back completely. Like, it's all I think about. So this is the story I want to get an agent with somehow. So we'll see. Anyway, hope you're doing really well and good luck to you. Good luck to all of us. I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye!